All right, so you have a map program that's opening up to your location, whatever you have set here in this on map ready method. The next step is what we want to do is change locations. So in this video, what you're going to want to do is take some time in your activity map XML document. There's a lot of changes with this. What's been added is a couple of layouts. You're going to have a linear layout so that you can have kind of have what I have on the screen with a search bar here. So you have location is the text view, and you have a place to enter a location and search for it. And then below is the map fragment that we had before. All right. You can try to build this by clicking and dragging, but really the best way I would do is just kind of copy and replace all the text. I'm going to give you all of that. But to set this up on your own, what you would do is you'd start with the linear layout. And then inside of that, you're going to go to Legacy here and use a relative layout, because not only do you want to have this listed linearly where you have your search bar up here with all the label and the place where you can type in and a search button. Those are three different components. So those are actually organized horizontally and put on top of a linear layout with the map below. All right, so that's kind of how it's all set up. So you have to combine a couple of things. So in all of the code, and I gave you this in the notes, starting right here in the subheader where it says we're working on geocoding and address to get its location. So I'll explain that in a minute, but basically you're going to modify your activity map.xml file, and my note here is to basically copy everything. So if you copy all of the code here for the XML from the start all the way down to the end here of the linear layout and just select all on yours and paste it and save it, you should be good to go. A couple of things you might have to add. If you might notice that some of these @string / location label, there is a way to organize your strings, and this is all organized in the res folder and values, and there's a few values you can work with. This is very similar to cascading style sheets if you're familiar with that with HTML. If you're not, what this basically gives you is one point to change some variables that you use maybe over and over. So for strings, that's where these are all listed, and we have a few strings that are added. I think you have app name, action settings, and search that were there, and I've added location label and location hint. Okay, so that's where these are. If you're typing and you paste in the code, you're going to get it's a caution, and you'll click on this, and what you're going to do, it might be an error actually, and you'll click on it to fix the reference. And when you're fixing the reference, you're basically giving it a few of these values and names. So the values are in between the brackets. So as long as it's something similar to what I have here, you should be good to go. Okay, so that should be the only fix that you need for this, as long as you've copied and pasted correctly. In the edit text, here's some organizational piece. So it starts with the linear layout, and inside of it is your relative layout. And inside the relative layout, this is where it's centered vertically but oriented horizontally. So everything gets centered vertically here, but centered as much as it can in the horizontal of your device. All right. The edit text is some interesting code here as far as organizing it between the text view and the button. That's what this is. And then you have the button, and everything has an ID so that it can be accessed. All right. Inside the button, there is a non-click event that leads to geolocate, which is a method that we are going to add to our main activity.java. All right, so you might get an error there as well. What you can do is, one of the options in fixing that error is to add that method to your main activity.java, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to add it, we're going to add it anyway, so it'll add it and you can just complete the code. Okay. The fragment changes. This is the original fragment for the map. There are a few changes with it, tags that are no longer needed because they are listed up here in the layout. So if you see that, that's what that is. The fragment, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to take the code here, copy it, paste it in, and save it, and then you'll be good to go for the next step. The next step is going to involve just adding some code to your main activity.java file. There are a couple of classes, so here they are. Hide soft keyboard, just an added method that you have to hide the soft keyboard. Go ahead and copy that and paste it. Where I pasted mine was just under. Some of these are some included methods for the import or the implement that we had. So hide soft keyboard is listed there. Go ahead and paste that there. And then most important one is the geolocate. All right. What the hide soft keyboard does is as soon as you call geolocate, it will get rid of your keyboard, so you don't have to close that. So it's kind of nice. Let me go back to the notes here real quick. Yeah, that's basically it. You want to copy both of these methods, and you're going to paste them just below your last method. For me was the on option item selected. Anywhere at the end of that class will be fine. Just be careful and keep your trailing curly braces all together. All right. There probably will be some imports that you need to fix. Again, you're just going to highlight them and choose Alt-Enter to fix those imports. And that should be it. This is a really cool addition, and it uses the Geocoder class, which if you check out online, you can Google that, as well as I have. Let me just type it in there. See, Geocoder for Android. Gives you a little bit of background information. This stuff is really updating fast, and currently, actually, that is not it. All right, that was some census, whatever. This is the one we want, the geocoding service. Okay, some big changes are happening very soon here in a lot of the Google Maps platform API. But the geocoding basically is a process that converts whatever you type in. You type an address, a location, anything in there, a place or something that you're kind of looking for in a map. So, for example, Eiffel Tower would take you to Paris, and if you typed Paris, that would also take you to Paris. And if you typed an address in Paris, it would take you there. So, this is really cool. And all you're doing is creating this object in your code, and there are some built-in things to use that object. And in this case, we're going to get from the location name, which is whatever we type into the search. So you have, oops, went too far there. Right here, when we click the button, it's going to go to geolocate, which is attached to your search. Geolocate will update the view based on what is being passed in the string here. So this is the search string that gets passed in. All right. So it takes that from the text view, the edit text here. Some of these things are probably named a little bit better instead of edit text 1. But whatever value you have in this ID gets taken and passed on to the geocoder, and you should get an update on your map. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this one. Save it, give it a try, and should work.